Okay, so we've got these guitars mostly cleaned up. They're coming together, and we've got a lot of the mud out. Now let's see if we can add some space to them. And they already have space to them anyway. We don't really need to argue or to go too nuts here. There's an inherent space to the tone itself. It just kind of has that wallow sound thing. At least that was the idea. I think we mostly succeeded. And so I decided to play around a little bit, and I actually fired up RoomWorks, which is the cheesy. Well, I say cheesy. It's a stock Cubase reverb. It doesn't work for everything, but I find that cheaper reverbs, whatever that even means, it's a real stupid way of even describing it. Reverbs that I don't maybe love on vocals and other things so much tend to work quite well for electric guitars. And again, this is one of those things where you'll read in some magazine like, "Oh, I don't put any reverb on my guitars." Well, that's your business. I do, and I like it. I do it in very, very, very slight moderation, and I do it where if I mute that reverb, I go, "Hey, where'd that go?" I'll miss it. So, and not just because it got louder with the reverb, but because it actually does something cool, adds to the doom. So let's see if we can't add to the doom with this particular sound here. And like for me right there, at least in these headphones that I'm using now, which I hate mixing in these, particularly when it comes to reverb and stuff, going from off to going up, like on that reverb, flinging that up, going, like that just went, yeah, that's fighter jet stuff right there. I don't know, something. It really did do something. So let's kind of look and see what's going on so you can kind of steal this trick yourself if you like it. Okay, no reverb at all. Guitar. We're going to focus on this. That's just a really wicked riff. Okay, so. The thing ain't that freaking loud anyway. Let's fire up this RoomWorks business. Let's see what I'm doing. I did put a filter, high pass filter, about 300 hertz. I did that before I took all the mud out, before when I was playing with the reverbs and stuff. And that's the reverb playing is what led me to say, ooh, these guitars still need to be tweaked a little bit. So now that we've gone through and removed the mud from our dry tracks, which is always the smartest place to do it, now it's actually made our reverb quite a bit cleaner and less. So if you're not really sure if you have mud on something, go ahead and toss whatever reverb you have in mind for it, assuming you do. And you will definitely hear the reverb will say, yeah, the mud's right here, dude. Okay, and I'm actually, these settings are all screwed up. I just grabbed some random preset and played with a little bit, but a 4-second reverb time is not normal. And in fact, I'm going to make it smaller just to see what happens, because, I don't know, 4 seconds, that's getting into opera house, well, can't do it now, dang. Anyway, let's see what we got here by playing. All right, now I pulled it down to a little under a second, about 0.83, which is more in my head what I would imagine one of these needs. It needs a small room that would kind of work for drums. I say small room, but a small decay time. The size of the room is a little bit different than the decay time. The decay time is, if it goes like a cathedral. Of course, you could have a bathroom that's hyper live and do the same thing. This isn't really a reverb tutorial necessarily, but small room on these guitars, or excuse me, I keep saying it wrong. A small RT60, a small reverb time on a possibly good sized room for guitars is where I like to be. All right, we got the low end taken out pretty good, but you can hear it now. But before. What I'm looking to do with all these things is just add that extra thingy. And it's not a million. It's not the kind of thing where you're going to go, whoa, lose your mind or change your life or any of that business. But what it is is by adding that extra, 2, 3, 4, 5% to each track when we can. The cumulative effect it can be really a big deal, and I think it's a big deal on an individual basis. But there's something about getting the space right on all tracks, and it works just as much for metal, in my opinion, as it works for anything else. But so I really think these guitars came alive with this ambience. So let's hear it in context now and see what we got. And you'll notice we're doing, metal. We got palm mutant, and we got the low end. That'll probably, might be a little bit too much, but that's definitely, some meat in there. But the reverb never messes that up. That's the critical step here. When you're doing this metal stuff, and if the reverb starts washing out or just getting muddy or taking anything away of any kind of clarity or anything like that, then don't use it or tweak and get that where it does add something. That's kind of the parameter I use. In this particular case, I don't hear any downsides to this reverb. I think it's only good. And so it's more of a room ambience than a reverb, which reverb is often associated with these big orchestra type reverbs. But definitely play with reverb on these tracks if you can. Let's see what happens.